Alright, so a quick video here between the Jumper EZBook 3L Pro. This is exactly the same as the Teclast F7, but not quite. There are some key differences that I'm going to outline here in this video. So if you've seen my review of the Teclast F7, this to me is still the best Apollo Lake M34 laptop that you can get, M3450, sorry, with 6 GB of RAM. This has 6 GB of RAM, 64 GB of storage in both of these. So identical specs, wireless AC, 38 watt-hour battery for up to 7 to 8 hours of use, depending on what power limit you have set. So this has 9 watts. This one has 6 out of the box here, and you cannot adjust it through the BIOS on this one. So the BIOS advanced settings is locked down. I'll show you that in just a second. And this one, you can run it completely unlocked, and thermals on both of these are really good. Now, I didn't buy this to start with because I heard that when it first came out, it had a TN panel. So I went, nope, I don't want to see another TN panel after the Jumper EZBook 3 Plus. And I got a lot of comments and even emails and people saying, please check out the EZBook 3L Pro because it now has an IPS panel. No, not on my unit, as you can see. Look at those viewing angles. So this is still a TN panel. This one, of course, is using like a PLS or an IPS panel, so you do get some darkening of the image, but the shifting like that, like this one, is nowhere near as bad. Now, is it a deal breaker, this screen? Well, it depends. If you're going to be looking at it straight on all the time, no, but I would still go for this. So this is glossy panel versus a matte one. So you're not going to have so many issues with reflections, but it's just going to be that vertical viewing angle does really bug me, the way that just shifts out, because this is the blue you can see on the Windows 10 Home setup for your languages. You select your language right there, and just look at the way that I mean, yeah, not good. But let's have a look at them in a little bit more detail, side by side, and compare some of the differences we have.
Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. They're basically the same, the port layout and everything. I wanted to point out that they've both got precision touchpads, but notice that on the Teclast F7, at least in my case here, that it has a color that matches the rest of the design, and then on the EZBook 3L Pro, it's a darker silver. They have more or less the same feel to them, so it's just a color difference there, and that could vary from batch to batch, and even possibly happen on the Teclast F7. So for ports, exactly the same. Micro SD card reader that's via a Realtek USB 2 hub, so don't expect fast speeds out of this. Full-size USB 3 port, of course, that can power external hard drives. We have DC in, and then our power in there, 12 volts, 2 amps, so identical. Then taking a look at the left-hand side, so we've got a status LED, micro HDMI out port for 4K up to 30 Hertz output, USB 3 port, and again, identical. Everything's exactly the same here. Keyboards, again, exactly the same. These are very decent keyboards, a little bit better than the Jumper EZBook 3 Pros. Very little flex, a very firm keyboard, nice response on those keys, and they have about 1.35 millimeters of travel. One thing that will probably often be skipped in these videos is the power supplies. Okay, yes, it's the same output, 12 volts, 2 amps, but of course one is the 2-prong US style that you get with the EZBook 3L Pro, and the Teclast one, of course, is a EU one, as you can see here. This one has a slightly longer cord to it, and I do like this power adapter a little bit better. It just feels a little bit higher in quality, so that's another reason to go for the F7 there too, with the power supply. So it may seem stupid to talk about the packaging. I just wanted to point out that the box of the Jumper EZBook 3L Pro is a lot lighter and thinner, so it's more prone and susceptible to damage in transit. The packaging on Teclast one is a lot stronger and a little bit more premium too. It's nicer to unbox, nicer to give maybe as a present too. But for me, the main thing is having a stronger box is a lot better, because some of these packages can get really knocked around coming from China to Europe. So the underside is the same. We have that SSD hatch on both of them, but you do get the Teclast branding and logo on there, and the F7 on the bottom, whereas the Jumper, there's nothing really, only just a few things on here with that CE mark as well. On the EZBook 3L Pro, you get the Jumper brand on the top of the lid there. On the Teclast, there is no branding there whatsoever. Both of them are very firm. and they have that full metal build to them, which is quite good, the quality of it, considering the price that these laptops sell for. And the Teclast model does have Teclast, you can see written here. This is actually like etched into that alloy, so you can't remove that. The jumper has nothing there. So now in the BIOS of the Jumper EZBook 3L Pro, you can see that we do have the advanced settings in the BIOS, which is good. However, you'll notice one setting, and the most important one, is missing, and that is power limit. So we cannot customize our power limit. We cannot override it from 6 watts to 9 to 10 watts or even unlimited, which I do on my Teclast F7. I run unlimited for maximum performance. It takes a big hit on the battery life, however, but that's a trade-off that I'm willing to accept. The other thing to note too, that you still will be able to do the software power limit override. So we can go and unlock it. You can set 10 watts. It just means you have to run that app every time, and you can't do it manually in the BIOS. Okay, so I'm running HW Info right now to take a look at the CPU's power limits on the Jumper EZBook 3L Pro, and you can see right here the 6 watts that they have set. So that is the stock default limit on this. And does that mean it's going to run slower than, say, the Teclast F7 with 9 watts set? Yes, especially when it comes to gaming. That's probably the only real area. So if you're doing or want to game on this, play older titles, something like League of Legends that will run perfectly fine on this, then you would probably opt to go for the Teclast F7 because you'll be able to set your own power limit there and just get maximum performance. What it basically means is it will let the integrated graphics just turbo up and clock a lot higher. It won't be limited and throttled by power limits on this particular model here. But the performance of this one, it feels quick and snappy so far. Everything seems fine in that regard. So HW Info is not reading the information correct here on the monitor. The panel, according to this, it's an MS_0003, and I do believe it's a TN panel. Now, some people have, according to what I've seen, it must be down to luck, really. It must be a bit of a lottery. A BUO, I think it is, or BOU branded one, which is like a PLS or an IPS panel that's matte coded. So it's a bit of a lottery there. Now, I'm not going to go and waste another $239 US and buy another one and hopefully luck out that I get that particular panel in here. So just be aware of that you might get a TN panel matte coated, or you may get an IPS and win the lottery there and have a much better screen than this particular one I have in my unit. So I've loaded up a couple of my demo images here. So this is one of my cat Vera. This is a very good example of what to expect from the screen. So when you're looking at it straight on, yeah, it does actually look really nice and fine. And for most people, it probably won't be an issue, especially non-techies out there that may not even notice this. But there should be some finer details around here with Vera's ears, but they're missing at this current angle. Now, if I just angle that screen up a little bit, there we go. See what I mean? Now we can see the shininess on her fur along there. You can see those details. It wasn't just all plain black like it was when it was angled about there. So that is the issue with this kind of screen. Having this TN panel on here, to me, bothers me. And that's the reason why I didn't want to buy this in the first place. But because of people's comments telling me, no, it has an IPS panel now, Chris. Please review it. Please get it. And I got lots and lots of repeated requests. And I'm really disappointed here that I got landed with a TN panel. So it is using a SanDisk eMMC, just like the Teclast F7. Very similar speeds here, which are very good for this type of drive. So it's eMMC 5.1 spec. We're getting sequential 260 reads and over 110 writes. So that is not bad at all. Okay, so to wrap it up here, the key differences are power limits in the BIOS. You cannot disable or adjust them on the Jumper EZBook 3L Pro. And then on the Teclast F7, you can. And of course, the screen's massive difference that I got a TN panel in my Jumper. It's possible you may get an IPS, but that's all down to the Chinese hardware lottery and what you're going to get with one of these laptops here. At least with my Teclast, I'm a lot happier with that screen. Yes, it's glossy, but I can put a screen protector on that, a matte anti-glare one, and that will probably fix the problem. Well, with the glare and everything like that. They tend to work quite well. The keyboard, the build quality, the touchpad, internal storage, the webcam, the microphone, the speakers, the battery, the thermals, all identical, exactly the same. And I would hold off, wait, if you're trying to get one of the Teclast F7s that are currently out of stock. Wait for the price to drop. Get one of those over the Jumper EZBook 3L Pro, unless you want to take that lottery risk here. I'm really disappointed. And if I did recommend to anyone to go for the EZBook 3L Pro, that was, sorry, based on other people's information telling me that no, it had an IPS panel, and clearly it does not in my unit here. Thanks a lot for watching this little comparison here, and please do check out my review of the Teclast F7 and the Jumper EZBook 3L Pro. I hope to see you back in the channel soon. Bye for now.